Hey everyone, I'm Dan from Current. I'm here today to give you some tips and tricks for our new Current pizza oven. Today we're going to be starting off by making the perfect Neapolitan dough. First off, I've got some pre-made measurements here, but we do have recipes online for Neapolitan dough. I've got my warm water and my yeasts, and what I'm going to do is just start by dumping in the yeasts into the warm water. I'm going to give that just a little stir with a whisk. Next, I'm going to add just a little bit of honey. I'm going to eyeball this, but the recipe calls for just a teaspoon to make 2 doughs. So just a touch of honey. And what this does is really just activate the yeast and kind of give it a jump start. So really helps you get some nice flavor and really goes towards the strength of the dough and helps to make that perfect Neapolitan style dough. All right, so I'm just gonna let that sit off to the side for just a second while I measure my dry ingredients. So from here, I've got my digital scale. I feel like this is really useful to really make a great dough. You can obviously use measurements, but when working with baking goods, such as flour, it's just a lot easier to be more consistent by using a digital scale. So I'm gonna start by just zeroing out my scale here so I can get my flour. So this is 00 pizza flour. This is kind of the staple and what the foundation of Neapolitan dough is made off. So I'm just going to measure this in here. It calls for 365 grams. So I'm just going to watch my scale as it goes up and make sure that I am not overdoing it. And then from there, I'm going to add my salt. I've pre-measured this, so I know that this is exactly the right amount. And I'm just going to use the same whisk that I did just to kind of whisk that around and stir in the salt and the flour all together. So from here, I'm going to take my yeast mixture that I have with all the wet ingredients, and I'm going to dump it into the dry ingredients. All right, so here's the fun part. Now we get to use our hands to kind of make this dough. So we want to make sure that everything gets well combined in this stage. And then we'll be adding a little olive oil at the end here as well to kind of help the mixture settle up. First, I'm just going to start by mixing all the ingredients here. Just give it a nice toss with my hands. Utilizing your hands here kind of puts a little bit more air into the dough and also makes it so that you don't overmix it. So it's a really nice way to do it. Obviously, if you have a stand mixer, you can do that as well. You're just kind of looking for everything to be well combined and pull off the sides of the edge of the bowl. All right, next I'm just going to add some olive oil into this. This will be a great thing to measure, but I also can kind of eyeball it. You're just looking for it to add a little bit of texture to the dough and some wetness. So don't overdo it here, but you can certainly add this to the dry ingredients up front if you wanted to. But really this is just going to help you get all the rest of the dough kind of off your hands. You can see that we're already starting to get a nice texture to the dough and it's starting to come together. So this first round, the dough isn't going to be nice and smooth. It's still going to be a shaggy ball. And after you let it rest for a little bit, come together at room temperature, we're going to mix it again by hand. And then it will start looking like the smooth dough that you kind of think would be from pizza dough. So I'm going to add a little bit more olive oil into this. All right, so you can see here, everything's starting to come together off the sides of the bowl. And we're starting to get that kind of shaggy dough look to the ball. It's not real refined yet, but once we let it sit and do its thing, then I think it will be a nice dough here. So you can kind of see what the ball looks like. We can kind of take it out of the bowl if we wanted to. And we can just kind of start kneading it on our clean work surface. So this way we can get the rest of it kind of coming off of our hands a little bit. And make sure that it is all being incorporated into this dough. All right, so this is kind of what we're looking for. It's just a nice ball of dough, not too smooth, but everything's well incorporated. What we're gonna do is we're gonna place that back in our bowl, and then we're gonna cover it with a kitchen towel, and we'll just let it rest for a few minutes on the counter, and then we'll come back to it, work it again, and then we'll start dividing it up and getting it ready for making pizza.